recording, and we're going to have this video up in YouTube. We'll send the link out, and the link is also going to be in our website.
Okay.
All right.
It's want to wait about one more minute, and then we'll go in and.
Sure. And I'm putting my direct contact information on the chat.
Do you have a way of erasing Jonathan Bletcher and making him go into Zoom hell?
Can't do that to Jonathan.
Come on.
All right, I see folks are coming in.
I wore my best t-shirts for this occasion, so.
Me too.
All right. So Mike, you're the moderator. You just give me a green light whenever you want to begin.
Okay, so let's start. I'm Michael Catalano. I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I'm the moderator. I'm not going to do anything other than introduce two of the finest people I've ever met, Isabel Perez Marina, who is the CEO of Advocates since David McGriff, my good buddy, retired last year. I miss him. And Anna Pineda, who is the Community Corrections Program Manager, but also the most wonderful person in the world that helps everybody out in court. So with that, I would just like to say to FACDL prosecutors and judges, welcome to this. Please send your questions to chat. Milton Fonseca at the end will be answering them all. And the purpose of this is so that everybody can figure out how on earth we're getting things done in a practical manner with COVID. With that, Isabel, knock me out and take over. And thanks a lot for helping out with this.
No problem, Mike. Thank you. I want to thank FACDL, of course. And really, you know, on behalf of our agency and all of our staff, the legal community has been obviously a great partner to us. And, you know, this has been a challenging year for everyone. And we all have seen the value of having very close partnerships and getting, as Mike just said, things done. We mentioned some housekeeping stuff. Well, we mentioned some housekeeping stuff. We do ask that you stay on mute. That'll make it a little easier as we go through. And we're also going to be recording this. We are recording it right now. We'll have a YouTube link sent to everyone. The presentation is also going to be available. There's things like there's a video link that I'm not going to show just because for time's sake, and also, you know, it's always difficult through these webinars to show a video. Not everything works. But you all can look at the links and videos on the presentation since you'll have access to it. At the end, just submit your questions in the chat and also go ahead and we'll answer them at the end. Just a couple of things. I do, like many of you, I have a dog, but if he barks, I'll be muting it, and Anna Pineda will take over in that moment. So we're trying to get through that. All right, so I think that's it, and we could go ahead and begin. All right, so a little bit about us. Very little background because many of you know who we are and have been working with us for so long. But we are a nonprofit. And we incorporated in '75. There's our mission statement: facilitate social change, enhance public safety through leadership, research, education, supervision, and services. The long and the short, we work for the safety and well-being at all systems: individual, family, and the community. And our core values are compassion, collaboration, integrity, empowerment, and excellence. And we adopted those a few years back and really have been striving to create a culture where everybody is treated with respect and integrity. We offer our services in 3 main Miami-Dade locations. The ones that are bolded, Central and South, are really the ones where the majority of the justice-involved clients are going to be going to for in-person services. And then we have a Monroe County DUI school. And obviously we're available now, like many organizations, through Zoom. So what is it that we do? For a lot of the folks that work in the criminal justice system, they're very familiar with the things we do for probation and diversion, but they're not as familiar with the things that we do outside of those services. So I just wanted to let you all know so that everybody has a global view. We're pretty eclectic. We provide housing services primarily for veterans. We provide wraparound services for families in high conflict divorce and children exposed to domestic violence, and primarily work with the family court and the domestic violence division judges there. We provide court-ordered family services like co-parenting and supervised visits, We have a licensed outpatient program, and all of that is co-accredited and licensed. And then, of course, we offer the diversion probation. We have a licensed DUI school, electronic monitoring, drug testing, and other court-ordered services. So I'm going to turn it over to Anna, and she's going to talk a little bit about probation, diversion, and some of the stuff that we're doing now.
Hi, everyone. So for probation, you know, it's important to know that we are the sole entity that provides probation supervision for Miami-Dade County. We've been contracted by the county since 1995. Those that are sentenced to probation at the felony level are supervised by Department of Corrections.
Yeah.
In terms of diversion, since 1978, the Advocate Program has worked in cooperation with the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office to provide pretrial diversion programs. You guys are familiar with a lot of them: county criminal for misdemeanor crimes, traffic diversion for criminal traffic charges such as driving with a license suspended and no valid driver's license, as well as you know, other criminal traffic offenses. Back on track programs, domestic violence for diversion go to Advocate, and felony. We're going to talk a little bit. There's some asterisks there because we're going to talk a little bit more in detail in regards to the felony diversion cases. But any specific that you guys have in regards to the criminal, the traffic, the diversion cases specific to conditions, they can be put in the chat, and then we'll address those at the end. We can go to the next one. With felony diversion, sometimes we've been seeing, this has been on and off throughout the years, but even more so during this time where attorneys and defendants are having an issue getting in touch with the right people for the right program. And so it's just important to know that all felony diversion cases, with the exception of some that I'm going to discuss, but regular felony diversion cases, they first go to Miami-Dade County Pretrial Services Unit, and they have their own separate referral when they're given by the prosecutor. And we have a little in the middle of the screen there, in the middle of the slide, it shows there the state attorney's referral. And if you'll see that that direction is to the pretrial diversion program, it gives you their address and their phone number. Right now, they're not presently seeing individuals in the office, but they are taking those enrollments by phone. It can be, you know, you just have to they instruct a client to be persistent about contacting them so that they can facilitate that enrollment. Once they enroll with pretrial services will be the one to file the acceptance with the court. So a lot of the times I might get a phone call or an email asking if an acceptance has been filed in one of these cases, and in reality, it would be pretrial services. I mean, I'm always open to, you know, helping with that and letting you know that by email or responding to your question. But really, pretrial services and the phone number that's there on the referral is the best number to reach to confirm if that person has enrolled, if an acceptance has been filed in their case, and things. The other referral that we get is for the felony drug crimes. And that little excerpt on the right bottom corner is the direct referral that we get to Advocate for those felony drug diversion cases. And so that would direct them to contact our office to enroll. We'll talk about how they can enroll later on, you know, in person and everything, but our address is there, our phone number is there, and they'll also be able to, our website is actually on the referral. We've adjusted our referral since the start to, you know, for the state attorneys to give out the information so that the clients know who it is that they need to contact, our website and our phone number, so they can facilitate that enrollment for those cases. Drug court, we're getting few of those, but those are direct referrals to Advocate, you know, for those defendants being referred to Advocate from drug court directly. Did I miss anything there? On the felony diversion, I had services, and that does include domestic violence felony cases as well as FIP cases, the Firearm Intervention Program cases. So they will still go through pretrial services, but those type of cases will be referred to Advocate. Other types of cases can be referred to other providers for regular felony cases, but those are two instances where specifically those types of cases for DV and for FIP will be referred to the advocate program in all those instances. Anything new in 2020? I don't think so. I don't think anything has changed. But yeah, right. We've had our own adjustments at the office. Some of them a little bit more easily done. Those individuals that are technologically inclined and stuff. But when it comes to the adjustments that we've made during COVID, whether it's remote working, safety in the office, our Zoom meetings, I'm sure everybody's, had their own adjustments. But we've taken the opportunity to learn a lot of different formats and help our clients work with those formats as well. Anybody in the office, we've been open throughout the entire process, during the whole time during COVID. When we had the stay-at-home orders, our office was open because we were considered an essential business. So we've actually never been closed during the entire time. We did start staff working at a rotating hybrid between the office and working remotely. But while at home, all of our staff have all office capabilities, their phone line, they have access to the calls coming into their extensions, as well, of course, as email and, access to the client's digital files and all of that. We are seeing clients at our central and our South Dade location through our plexiglass window for the safety of our clients and our staff as well. We also have PPE and sanitation procedures to protect, again, both our staff and our clients. We are requiring individuals to wear masks. I think we talk about that later. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Referrals, county court arraignments. So right now, as it stands, we are present in all county court arraignment calendars for those referrals that are given for pretrial diversion. And so what happens is the state will provide us that court referral. Usually, as you've probably seen, the judge will put us in a breakout room with the defendant so we can go ahead and get some information. With that information, we can go ahead and send them immediately the enrollment paperwork so that they can do that right away via their email. That has been working really well. And basically, they'll just submit it back to us so we can assign a counselor to them and continue that intake process. There are some instances where there are agreements that are outside of court hearings between the defense and the state. And we just don't always receive those referrals. So what we've included here is referrals, our email. So you can feel free to go ahead and send that to us. So we have that. We do have to provide those to the court as well. So that kind of helps us facilitate that process. Let's see here. On the felony referrals, the clients must contact our office to enroll. They can do that by phone or online, and they'll be given the referral. We do receive the referral. In some instances, we're provided with their name and email address, and we will make every effort to reach out to them and make contact so we can facilitate their enrollment. But sometimes, that's not the best number or contact information to reach them at the best time, or it might be incorrect. So definitely the best way is to have them to, reach out to us on our website or to contact us by phone, and we can go ahead and facilitate that process then. If anybody has a client that is Spanish speaking, I think it's just helpful, especially at the felony level when we're obviously not there, but, have them maybe put on there if specified that they are Spanish speaking. And that way, when we reach out to them via email, that kind of helps facilitate that process as well. What services are still in place? Well, in person, we are still providing all of the same services except for the in-house drug testing and in-house groups and classes. Those groups and classes are being done virtually for the time being. and we'll talk a little bit about things coming up soon in regards to that. Clients can complete their enrollments and the intakes as well. So again, we have never closed services to those individuals. We do realize that there are, certain individuals that just absolutely do not have access online or on a computer or even a smartphone or anything. So definitely we continue to have individuals that are coming in for in-person enrollments, and we will service them. We are, of course, asking that everyone wear a mask when they come to the office. Our office does enforce that they wear it properly. And we do have disposable masks should one of our clients need them. The other services that we're still providing right now are which would be your GPS, Scram Cam bracelet, as well as the remote breath devices. So we are still installing / assigning those that equipment to those individuals, and we just require a screening. We'll ask them some questions, of course, make sure that they have a virus and that they're wearing a mask to protect, again, our staff and our clients as well.
All right, so what services can be done virtually? So as we noticed, as Anna just talked about, when all the enrollments now can be done online. I'm gonna do a different share screen after this slide so that I walk you through our website and you see exactly what the clients can see. But basically, they could submit a request to enroll online. How we facilitate that process is basically we get basic information. We make sure that we know what program that client is in. There is a place there where they could upload their referral in the event that we still haven't received it from the court or the state. And so all of that can be sent. And then once we have their information, their language requirements, et cetera, we go ahead and we'll send them an email with all the enrollment paperwork. And we're doing that through Adobe Sign. And the reason we're doing it through Adobe Sign is because it's a lot easier for clients. We've learned there's nothing for them to download, and there's very specific prompts of where they have to fill up the fields and where they could sign. Once they hit finish, that automatically comes to the program, and the client also gets a copy. We've had requests where attorneys want to receive a carbon copy of that, and we could facilitate those. If we know ahead of time, we can carbon copy the attorney, and they'll also receive a copy of the enrollment, of the completed enrollment, and all of the transactions that occur through Adobe Sign. After that, after we receive the completed transactions, it's important to understand that the intake is not complete, right? The client has not completed an enrollment until we've received that signed paperwork. And so once we do that, that's when the term begins. We go ahead and I should say term for diversion. For probation, the term begins when the judge signs the order. But when we go ahead and assign a counselor, and then the intake can be done through Zoom or through the phone. Really on our probation cases, we do need to do face-to-face, and so we will make every effort to do it through Zoom, or we can schedule appointments for clients to come into the office and to be seen through their plexiglass windows. Once they're in and they have to do reports, they could submit their reports electronically. They could do it by phone or by Zoom, especially in the event it's a probation case. Payments can also be done online or by the phone, so there's very little need for a client to present in person, unless, of course, they just don't have the capabilities to do the virtual services. All assessments can also be done through Zoom. We have a licensed Zoom account for those to be done in a confidential manner. And we have very strict policies and procedures for assessments, groups, and classes, all through Zoom platforms as well. The assessments do include domestic violence, so for those individuals that are coming from the domestic violence division that do need a domestic violence assessment in the event that there is an intimate partner relationship, that domestic violence assessment can also be done through Zoom. It's important to know that assessment is a condition of diversion and of domestic violence probation. They cannot begin the domestic violence program unless until they do that assessment first. Once we do that assessment, we go ahead and refer them out to the domestic violence or commonly referred batter's intervention providers. Our DUI school is entirely virtual right now. Everything from enrollment, evaluation, and class can be done virtually. And all of our providers from the DUI school level, and again, the domestic violence intervention providers, all offer services virtually as well. Most folks are doing Zoom. Some folks are doing some other platforms. community service hours. We do have the ability, there is something that has been approved by the state attorney's office. I've put the link here, it's Volunteer Miami, and there's certain opportunities there to do, there's few opportunities for online. As things open up, there's more and more in-person opportunities for folks to do in-person community service hours. And a big one is to help at a food bank, which is, there's been a lot of food distribution sites, so that there's opportunities for folks to do those community service hours in person as well. But there are some opportunities online. We've had, you know, very little feedback from our clients on that. And, you know, on all of this, especially the newer things, we welcome feedback, things that we really need to continue to update, continue to work on. And you could send those to us, and we'll see what we can do. We're always trying to improve that piece. I just noticed a chat relating to the United Way Letters to Heroes program. They report that they haven't received any sort of confirmation, and that's sort of the feedback. So we're trying to troubleshoot that with the United Way, because we are getting some feedback that the communication between the program and the clients is not as ideal as it should be, especially because these clients need that confirmation in order to fulfill their requirements. So those are things that we're following up on. Just to give the groups and classes, because we have had questions about this, they are through Zoom. They are generally available in the late afternoon and evening. Our DUI classes are also available in the weekends. You know, as everyone has gone through these changes, part of the issue is the number of people coming through our programs. So we do have cycles both in English and Spanish, but they're happening one at a time, right? Unlike before, we had multiple cycles of classes at the same time. Right now, they're really happening one at a time to make sure that we fill those sessions up before opening new sessions. So there are limits in terms of how much the time frames that we can offer, but we are cognizant that folks have barriers. When doing Zoom, we have requirements. They can't be driving, and if they are driving, they have to go to the side and park their car. They are required to have audio and video on video on the entire time. Our classes require participation, and they have to be in a private place. So a lot of our folks have, you know, the issues we've had, like with most providers, is that clients will be driving, or they'll be at a place that's not private with folks around, or even at work. And so we try to work with them as much as we can, but if they can't adhere to the requirements and make sure, you know, a lot of it is confidentiality to the rest of the group members, then they'll have to be removed from the session, and then they'll reschedule. Generally, if they're there, they're not going to get a penalty, but they do need to be around. Mike submitted a question about whether we know if they're driving, whether they have a DL. Our instructors are not during that time going to have access to very specific case information. So no, that's not something that we'll have access to and that we'll go looking into as well. So I wanted to share at this moment our website very quickly. This is what it looks like now. It's going to look totally different next month because we are doing a redesign, but all the same functionality will be there. This is, you know, right here in the red banner, we have in English and Spanish where clients can enroll. If you click on this, this is what they'll see. We have the DUI school registration here, all other new enrollments and existing clients for reports. We allow for the Zoom download because a lot of our clients are going to need that as well. But for a new enrollment, they'll click on here. They'll submit their name, date of birth, case number if they have it, which is not a required field. Here, their email address is required, of course. And then here, where it says upload referral, they'll be able to upload a picture or a scanned copy of their referral through this piece. So once they submit, that goes to a group of us, and then we, you know, continue on with the workflow and get the client into. It's a pretty seamless process. It's working very well. Again, also available for clients in Spanish, same information here. So going back, DUI school. Last we heard, we are the only DUI school that's offering virtual services. There are some, you know, folks that are doing very small groups, but have not been able to do groups online or through a licensed platform. our clients are able to do, like I said, everything from start to finish in the DUI school can be done virtually. They do their enrollments in the same place like I just showed you. They get their proof of enrollment immediately after they've completed their DUI school enrollment in the website. We contact them, complete their paperwork, and then from then on, they get their evaluation appointment, which is also done through Zoom. The DHS&V has approved evaluations to be done by phone if the client does not have the ability to do the evaluation through Zoom. The classes, however, we just can't do by phone. And so we do have a small group of people that are on a waiting list for in-person classes. I'll talk a little bit about how we're going to make some adjustments for those. But right now, all the classes are offered through Zoom. Because through an online platform, it's very, in the past, the DUI school can be done in 2 days. It was like, 6 hours a day. It's very difficult to manage that through an online platform. So we have had to extend the classes to chop them up a little bit and make it more manageable for folks to do it online. Once they complete all their requirements, their certificate of completion gets mailed to them. It's not something we could do electronically because it requires a stamp, but we go ahead and mail it to them, and it's also available for pickup during our business hours. All right, so, and this is really important. I just want folks to understand. We try as much as possible to help every client succeed, especially during these times, because we recognize it's been hard, as Anna mentioned, it's hard for some of our staff that don't have the technical, aptitude for all of these things. And we understand that folks are dealing with stressors relating to unemployment, family members, and social distancing, and all of the things that we all are having to deal with. So our clients, they all present with unique situations. And part of what we're tasked in doing is, helping them through a step-by-step process. At the beginning of this pandemic, we had virtual services late March up and running for them. We were having the conversations beforehand just to be able to do this, so it just happened to work out for us. Like I said, a lot of our clients don't have the aptitude. We'll sit with them. We have staff that sits with them over the phone, walks them through the Zoom process, walks them through signing in, walks them through the features, walks them through Adobe, which a lot of them have difficulty with. So we've had a lot of that one-on-one with them. We get, as Anna mentioned, we get some referrals that have the client information. If we do have referrals that include the client contact information, including email and phone number, we do everything possible to go ahead and reach out to the client and get them in and send them the information so that goes seamlessly. Most of our groups and classes, especially at the beginning of the pandemic, we trained all of our instructors and facilitators, and we had them go through a debriefing just to help our clients with the times. Penalties have really been loosened. If they, at the beginning, we weren't charging any missed sessions, not the DUI school, not anything. We've now started, especially if there is a pattern of failing to attend classes, because, we have now had this for a considerable amount of time and do a lot of work in the scheduling of the online services. But clients are still getting a free pass for non-DUI courses. They're still getting a free pass if they miss one Zoom. And a lot of that is just helping them with some barriers that they're experiencing. After that, we do have to put some penalties in place. It's a $10 rescheduling fee. Are we filing revokes for non-compliance, especially probation violations? Basically, we are taking into account everything that the clients are doing and making sure that we have the ability to prove a willful violation. So when it comes to revokes, if a client has a new law violation, that's a no-brainer. We are filing those. All other cases are reviewed with the state attorney's office to ensure that we retain jurisdiction in cases that we have to for probation, or that we bring the case back before the court. For these clients, and that was particularly salient for clients that were referred before the pandemic and then found themselves in the middle of the pandemic with adjustments and changes to the program. Clients that are coming in now are being told what they're expected to do. But the main thing now is that the terms have been extended, even the terms to enroll, because there's a lot of back and forth through Adobe, et cetera, even the terms to enroll are loosened. And so we're giving clients more time just to get in the program and complete all of the conditions. I think it's important to note, you know, relatively speaking, this is probably the best time to be in these type of programs because of that. We cannot say for sure what's going to happen, whether the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, for example, is going to approve virtual services and telephone services in the future. That might be something that they do away with, and clients will be required to come in person. Personally, we're going to advocate for having some sort of hybrid situation because we recognize that the access has really improved compliance. You know, clients, especially those that don't have a license, don't have to figure out rides and public transportation. They don't have to figure out parking. There's a lot less missing work. All of these things that really served as barriers for clients to complete the number of conditions that they have to complete with our programs. A lot of that is accounted for when you allow access to a virtual platform. So we will be advocating, but much of that is out of our control. Right now, battery interventions, all of these things are approved virtually, and it is a really good time to get all these conditions met. And, you know, I just don't think it goes without saying, we really strive to create a culture where we take care of our staff so that our staff can take care of their clients. That's really important to us. We really, again, those core values are important. And so we, you know, they have not, and most of our staff have been impacted by changes, and Anna will talk about that and about how you all get through to our staff. But we try as much as possible to take care for them, to create an atmosphere that upholds those core values so that trickles down to the service they provide. So what about the clients that can't do all these things? They can't do Zoom, don't have an email, they don't have smartphones, etc. Well, when it comes to those clients, now this next quarter in October, our classrooms, both at our central location in South Dade, have just finished being fitted with video cameras, TVs, etc., so that we could start holding small sessions that can access a Zoom course. And so we're able to do that and have small groups that are still spread out that can still have a virtual type of platform and presentation. We're doing that because the number of staff that we have available for in-person is less and less. And so we want to make sure that clients are no longer placed on waiting lists. The other thing is that we're fitting and trying out kiosks in our lobbies so that clients individually can come in and conduct appointments and individual appointments in a private session in a way that they use our services and our internet if they don't have it. The things that are holding us back, we just want to make sure that our sanitation procedures are such that clients are protected when they're coming in, especially in those small groups. So those are the things we're planning. And we hope to have that available sometime by mid-October. And we'll be continuing on. Again, drug testing right now is one of those things. Sanitation procedures have to be there. That's likely coming back in-house as well. Again, if the service is not available, the client is not being penalized for not doing it. However, when it comes to drug testing, depending on the order, we might have to refer a client outside to a lab or another entity that is providing drug testing. We are the most economical place for that, and so we recognize that a lot of clients are unable to access drug testing outside of advocate programs, but we are going to be trying to bring that back as soon as it's safe to do so. So Anna, why can't people get anyone on the phone?
All right, so you know, this can be an issue right now, especially during COVID times. COVID has definitely impacted our program, and being nonprofit, we've had to make adjustments so that we can continue to provide those services that we have for our clients throughout the years. Some of those adjustments include the adjusted hours of operation, Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Fridays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if a client is trying to access us during, you know, outside of those hours of operation, obviously they'll have some trouble getting through to somebody at that time. But of course, you know, they can always email or call during those working hours. Some of the other adjustments we've had to make too is reducing staff and reducing hours for current staff to accommodate you know, our program during this time, so we can still continue to provide those services. Right now, our counselors are in court. I mean, a lot of you guys know that we've been staffing court now. We're there 4 days a week, and it's not like before. We would just be there half a day, and then the other half we can, you know, be in touch with our clients and everything. But now it's an all-day thing, and then in the coming weeks, Woodward opened up to a 3rd day, possibly a 4th day in the coming weeks. So, you know, it's going to continue to be a little bit busier for us because we do want to be there in the virtual court hearings to provide those services and to make sure that we get the best contact information for those clients. But this is just you know, those are just some reasons why it might be difficult to get somebody right to catch the call as soon as the person's calling. Some other ways for clients to connect, clients to try to email their counselor or leave a voice message and they'll return the call within 48 hours. But we have some features too. And Isa, I don't know if you want to show them real quick, the chat feature, but we do have a chat feature on our website that's available Monday through Friday until 5 p.m. So there's that little icon at the bottom and you can chat with one of our staff. I think if you see chat with customer service, you could be chatting with Isabel herself.
Yeah, so, you know, right here in the chat, I'm not sure who might be on. But we could go ahead. But the main thing here is that you'll be prompted to leave your name, email, and phone number. And so if someone's not available at that very moment, we have that contact information. So if you submit your question, we at least have a way to get back to you. I myself man the chat. As you notice, if there's anybody, if you're chatting with someone who's called customer service, that would be me. Feel free to say hi. And as we have here in the slide, we have an email. It's up here. It's pretty small, customerservice@advocateprogram.org. We also, that just opens an email, obviously, in Outlook. And then we have a contact us as well on our webpage. And if you submit, the clients can submit their information and their comments here without a problem. These all get sent directly to my inbox, and I go ahead and feed them to whoever it is that needs to answer the question. I'm going to go back to the presentation, and in this presentation, we have some key contact information. And I know there's always a question about who's the right person to contact. Mike himself says, I always feel bad because I call Anna and Isa and I'm not sure who the best person to contact. The truth is that we're the best people to contact because we're not affected by the reduced hours of operation. We know who is, we know who's in the office, who's not, who's available, who's not in court. So we're the best person to contact if you have a question, especially one that cannot wait for someone to get back to you in 48 business hours. Jael Corbello's information is here. She does operate, she's Anna's colleague, but for the domestic violence division. And Gary Chappelle is our DUI school director. So specific information relating to domestic violence and DUI can go to those individuals. Again, I showed you our website, our social media accounts are there. And again, this presentation will be available to all of you. But please feel free to contact us. We're available for follow-up. We're available if you all want us to do this, you know, to any other group. We want the information to be out and we want to be able to answer the questions and meet the needs of the clients. So at this point, I think we have some time for question and answer. And so I want to just open that up. I saw some stuff in the chat. So I want to ask Milton to see if he could let us know what are the questions that came through.
We do have several questions. The first one is, what do you do when a client won't do community service hours for COVID reasons? Again, so right now, we document that information. There are few, and depending on the program. So for example, it's a probation case, we have probably less leeway. If it's a diversion case and we have some more leeway, there are ways that clients can donate to a food bank, and some very rare approvals that we've had for clients that have very specific barriers to completing community service hours under the circumstances that we have. We've had very, very few issues during this time. And in the event that we just can't meet the need of the client or the client cannot complete the condition, we'll review that for the state. And depending again on the program, we'll make a decision about what to do. but very few situations like that have come up where we cannot figure out a solution with the client.
And Issa, real quick, because I know this is something too that you have mentioned, but obviously as the county, you know, continues to move into opening different things, we have had certain clients that are being able to complete now community service in person. For those individuals that, you know, are comfortable with that, there are places that are opening up. I don't have specific ones, you know, I just know like through you know, discussions with clients or with attorneys that they are, you know, little by little things are going to start opening up as well.
That's nothing.
Is the virtual DUI school only available to clients who have cases in Miami, or is it available to clients with cases in other counties as an option to satisfy the requirements if their county does not offer virtual DUI school services?
And that last part is the main issue. Right now, we are able to serve clients that are not able to be served by their county. We've also been able to serve out-of-state individuals, especially those that need to fulfill their requirements here for a Florida license. And on that topic, if the client is arrested here but has to go back, those cases where we have out-of-state defendants that have a program here, it's obviously, because of all the virtual services, very easy to get that accomplished now for your out-of-state defendants as well. But yes, we can serve through our DUI school clients that are from other counties, provided that they can't access the services safely where they live.
The next question is, just to confirm, online forms of community service are subject to state attorney approval, correct?
If you use the link that's in the website, that has already been approved. So that link through Volunteer Miami and the United Way, those services that are in that website, if they're online and are available, those have already been vetted and approved if they go through the United Way link. Anything outside of that does have to be approved by the state attorney's office.
The next question is, what is proactively being sent to people, and what is being done to address unauthorized practice of law concerns? An example, giving legal advice.
So we're pretty clear that we cannot give legal advice. We just provide information on the programs themselves. We've had clients, for example, that ask, well, things like, I got my license back, should that satisfy? And we always refer them to go back and talk to their attorney about whether they still want to complete the program, whether they want to put that back before the judge. But we refrain from providing any type of legal advice. Most of our paperwork and contracts have been vetted. It hasn't changed much, but that's something that we don't do. And particularly to that, we no longer offer the ceiling program. We removed ourselves from that because it became inherently difficult not to help clients out, especially if you knew they were going to be ineligible. It's difficult to accept their money knowing that we're going to be ineligible, and you can't tell them that they're going to be ineligible because that's considered legal advice. So we've really gotten away from doing ceiling and anything of that nature, and just refer clients out as they need to be done.
The next question is, specifically, what is being given to drivers who may be eligible to seek a waiver hearing with DHSMV, which includes signing up for DUI school?
So we haven't done anything specific. All of our paperwork has the information that it's always had, but I don't think that we've done anything specifically to inform clients of hearings, et cetera. That's something that their attorney will do. We do have links on our website to DHSMV and things of that nature, but we do refrain from giving any specific information relating to that.
Next question is, what are some differences between the anger management program and batteries intervention program?
Sure. So, you know, a lot of times we get clients that are referred and, you know, anger management is smaller. It is a 10-hour course, where batteries intervention, as it's called, is 26 weeks. So it's really important to understand that we will not facilitate putting individuals in an anger management program if the offense is with an intimate partner. And it's just against the modality itself. So oftentimes, if that isn't in order and the crime is against an intimate partner, we will go back to the state. We will go back and clarify that order and make sure that changes are done and advocate for those changes to be done. Because again, it's just anger management is a skill-based program, and it does not go into at all any of the dynamics in a healthy relationship. So that's something that is very different.
The next question is, how impacted has Advocate program been during the pandemic?
As impacted as many of you, I'm sure. So we have been impacted, as you know, when the court closed, it closed. That means we had 0 referrals for a considerable amount of time. We made our adjustments as we have to be and have to have done, and we've, you know, we've been able to continue and work on sustainability. You know, as a nonprofit, that's one of the benefits, right? We have certain benefits, and there's pros and cons to being a nonprofit. The largest pro is that we don't have to satisfy investors or anybody with relating to a bottom line. And so our focus is not profit, is not driven on profit, but we do have to consider sustainability. The main con to being a nonprofit, and I think it's important for all of you to know, as folks that go out, become judges, are judges, or are aspiring elected officials, is that we cannot participate in any political campaign, or the IRS will snatch that nonprofit status away from us. So when we're not seen as an advocate program supporting any type of political campaign, it's because we cannot. So that's really the only con to being a nonprofit. Other than that, it's something that we're very proud of.
The next question is, what specific measures has Advocate program taken in each branch location?
Sure. So our lobbies are spaced out in terms of all of the chairs. We have sanitation procedures. We have cleaning folks. We have, you know, all the things that you have to have. We've even had folks gone ahead. Just want to go ahead and do that. We've had folks gone ahead and been tested oftentimes, just to make sure that it's safe for them to be in the office. Again, there's very little client contact right now, except when it comes to any scram install, remote breath install. When there is a remote breath install or anything that requires close client contact, we are in full gear. And so we do everything possible to protect each other and to protect the clients.
The next question is, with online classes, can clients do more than one class per week? For example, BIP is 26 weeks. Can clients complete earlier than 26 weeks?
Nope, that's still a requirement. That's something that it's not our requirement. That's the requirement of the program as it was established. And so they have to do a full 6 months of the program. It's really 24 weeks. There's an assessment is the first part. There's an orientation, that's the second part, and then 24 group sessions. Each have to be done on a weekly basis.
The next question is, does Advocate solicit new DUI arrestees to sign up for DUI school and or imply they have to get temporary driving privileges?
No. I don't, no, that's the easy question. That's the easy answer. We do not. We have in the past sent out mailers to new arrestees. Those mailers have been reviewed by many people in here for their language to ensure that the language that perhaps other providers in the community use are not in any of our brochures or mail-outs. Since the pandemic began, though, we have not really been sending out those mailers and have just relied on clients knowing who we are and signing up for our DUI school.
Isabel, can I speak to that for a second?
You sure can.
Look, I'm not part of the Advocate program, so I can say this. I go out of my way to send my clients to DUI School Advocate because they treat people fairly. The other schools send out brochures that I have been offended by, giving advice, telling people to go get their license back. You guys got to keep in mind that if you send someone to Advocate DUI School and you choose them early, they can't force them later to go to another class. I mean, DUI School at another program like Metro Traffic or someone Broward or Palm Beach. So, but if you wait, there's a chance, like on BOT and other programs, where they will, by odd or even, send them to another program. So if you want your client to go to Advocate, sign him or her up in advance and get them going on it, and they'll leave them alone. That's just my take, that And because advocates has gone out of their way not to do anything to play games with people. And that's why I like these people so much.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for the plug.
The next question is, would it be possible for advocate to notify the attorney and send a memo via email at the time a client is bounced out of the program?
So there's a couple of things, and that will depend on the program. There are certain programs that we're limited in terms of what we can provide to the attorney, and that happens mostly in felony cases. But in all other cases, we're open to providing information to the attorney if we have it. And so a lot of clients don't have the attorney contact information, don't provide us with the information that we need in order to keep folks in the loop. There's also no automatic way right now to do that. It's one of the limits of our organization is not being able to give that information to select individuals. So it's something that we've been trying to accomplish for some time. But if you want to be included in any information, it's really necessary for you to inform your clients, to give us their contact information and provide us with those instructions. And then if any of you want to try and create some of that specifically, I could work with individuals. But there's a lot of defense attorneys, and so it's difficult for us to have a complete database of everyone and be able to accomplish that on a global scale.
The next question is, what is the turnaround time for certificates and reporting of completions?
So for DUI school, the turnaround time for the completion certificate, which is where we provide a certificate of completion to the client, it's going to be as soon as the client finishes, it'll take about a week or so to send that mail out to the client. Provided that, again, we just have to make sure that everything, all the conditions are met. I think the question is very specific, though, to perhaps when we're filing completions with the court and what that time frame is. We've just this past week adopted a lot of our workflows to make that quicker. Please keep in mind that at the beginning of the pandemic, we had folks on a hybrid rotation, and we were still really following paper around, right? And so we hadn't really adopted all the new workflows that are not contingent upon paper. So we had to wait for folks to be in the office at the right time so that the paper gets sent to the next person in the workflow. And that really created a delay in processing completions from the time the client did complete. Now, we were still within a reasonable time period, but I do understand that many of the clients that are referred to us really need completions, really need these court cases out of their hair for whatever reason, whether it's vocation, travel, whatever it is. And so we have just adopted our workflows. And so the new workflow should be that we should not take more than a week between the time that the client completes every condition with the advocate program to the time that paper is filed with the clerk of courts, which, by the way, is filed now through email. We do not have any portals. So it's important to understand that everything that we do is still done through email, and then the clerks have to physically process that paper. And the reason we don't have any portal is for several divisions, those workflows just haven't been created by the clerk of courts. We're working now, and the first workflow is going to go through in the domestic violence division, but in county court, that's going to take a bit.
The next question is, in the case that we return to normal services, does the advocate program continue to provide virtual services in the future?
Sure. So for those services that are within our control, right, in terms of having online enrollment, reports through Zoom, things of that nature, all of those things that are within our control, we will continue to provide virtually. For those things that are regulated by an external body, we would have to seek permission for many of those things. That includes, like I mentioned, batter's intervention, DUI school. I also mentioned that we run an outpatient clinical unit. We have a contract with the Florida Department of Corrections. So for those of you that have clients that are under probation under the supervision of the Florida Department of Corrections, and they might need to satisfy substance abuse counseling as a condition, those clients generally will go to advocate program to satisfy that condition and be admitted into our outpatient clinical unit. So Those are currently offered through Zoom, but they're offered through Zoom under the permission of the Department of Corrections. And if the Department of Corrections chooses that only in-person services are going to be approved in the future, then we will have to do in-person services and not offer Zoom. As I mentioned earlier, we will be very strong in advocating for some type of hybrid model, because we really do believe that the access that virtual services has provided has improved the compliance rates for our clients and just removed a number of barriers for them. So we will be advocating, but a lot of that is out of our control. And I will say that while we're presently, and our DUI school is presently just doing virtual services, as I mentioned, we are working to provide small group instruction for those clients that can't. So we hope to get through our waiting list, which is not too large, and mostly Spanish speakers for our traffic diversion and our DUI school are the main individuals that are on waiting lists right now to do in-person services. So we're hoping that we'll have small groups available in the last quarter to satisfy all those people that are on hold.
The next question is, while a client can challenge a treatment referral in the DUI court setting, there isn't any way for that to be challenged in the BOT or voluntary context. How can we afford a client a meaningful opportunity to contest an evaluation?
That's a really good question, Jonathan, I see. But, you know, our DUI school, I really want to say that our DUI school does not refer everybody to treatment. So we do not have that habit. We have a very specific grid that we look at. That's one of those things. DHSMV has very specific rules of what it allows us to release in terms of releasing the grid and releasing the algorithms as how we make that determination whether a person needs DUI school. I myself have conducted DUI school evaluations, and again, it's just a specific process. It is important to understand that the evaluation is to minimize risk, and it is to err on the side of public safety. And so in the absence of having a lot of information in a refusal, for example, when a client doesn't present with a police report and we have very little information, if certain indicators are present, we do have, in some instances, have to refer individuals to a treatment program. Now, that treatment program will still conduct an evaluation and will still place individuals in the right level of care and assign a specific number of sessions. So not everybody has to do the same number of sessions depending on their clinical presentation. In terms of contesting an evaluation for Back on Track, et cetera, you would have to do that like you would contest any condition through the state attorney's office and through the court. So the DHSMV is going to be able to regulate the conditions of the DUI school, and then the referring authority on the criminal end, whether it's the state attorney or the court in cases of probation, will be able to tell us what to do and override anything with respect to conditions that are set on the criminal case.
And the last question that we have is, are the DUI school and victim impact panel with Mothers Against Drunk Driving being conducted remotely or only in person?
They're being conducted only virtually, as a matter of fact, right now. Those classes are really, really large. They've always been, 70 people in a room. In fact, we work with Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and they use our lobby in our central location to conduct those classes after hours. And there's no way to really conduct them in person safely at this time because they're very large classes, and MAD brings in people and does that generally once a month. So right now, what we're doing is virtual for that victim impact panel, and it's going well.
And that's all the questions we have.
All right, Mike?
Well, I certainly want to thank you, Isabel and Anna, for being kind enough to do this. All the defense lawyers appreciate it. Hey, folks, pass the word around that there's going to be a YouTube. I'll get it out on the list. My job is just basically to blast it on the listserv, so if somebody wants to watch it later. But the name of the game is, for me, is if you're not sure what to do, you email Anna or Isabel, and it's amazing how quickly they'll get you to the person that will figure out how to solve the problem. And with that, I guess, Isabel, you're all set, right?
All set. I think we just had, Jonathan had a final question there about whether voting under the influence is available and for Back on Track. So Back on Track includes voting under the influence. So those can go in there. And I just had a note, you love Anna. I want you to know I love Anna too. She makes my life Anna is the best. She is our rock star. We have lots of them. The folks, you know, we really believe in what we do. And so I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your support of our organization. And again, our contact information, both for myself and Anna, including our cell phone, is on the chat. Just feel free to reach out in case you need any follow-up.
Okay, we're all set?
All set. Have a great afternoon.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Having us.